So I've just come to the field to let Ted have a little bit of a mooch around. It's nice to just be up here on my own with him, you know, a little bit of us time. And yeah, I don't know, like I'm kind of feeling a little bit down today. I've been isolating myself a little bit from my friends. Obviously the big question on everybody's mind at the moment is, how is Ted? And the answer is not great. He now has an ear infection if he didn't have enough issues to begin with. And then last night, for the first time in nearly 8 years that I've known him, I asked him to do a job and he said no. He didn't want to do it. Now, I didn't force him. I'm a big believer that if the dog wants to do the job, they'll do it. And there's always a decent reason why they don't want to do it. And in this case, I do think it's pain with Ted. But I'm having a couple of issues because look at him. He shouldn't be running around. Can you see? So can you see how he's bunny hopping? That is a sign of an issue, specifically with the back end. Ooh, that does not look good. But yeah, no, so that genuinely kind of devastated me. For him to say, I don't want to work, that was a real turning point, I think, because for him to turn down work is unheard of. Even after he's had operations, he's always wanted to work. So for him to turn it down is notable, and obviously that's going to be something that we mention to the vets when we see them next Tuesday for the specialist. What have you found? Have you found a tennis ball? We can't play fetch right now, buddy. I'm sorry. But yeah, he's really going through it at the moment. Obviously, he's now got an ear infection as well, and it sucks to be you at the moment, doesn't it? And I feel incredibly sorry for you. So it's very important that I kind of give him this time up here and time where he can just enjoy existing with me, basically. So I'm actually, funnily enough, just editing last week's vlog, and I have just got a phone call from my nurses at hospital to say that I can actually have a line of treatment next month too. She said, don't get too excited because it's just until you can be reviewed. Obviously at the moment, due to COVID, all healthcare is kind of up in the air. I need to have some bloods done to kind of more accurately assess where my bones are at, but I get at least 1 more month, which is... I'm cutting that out. We've come down to cricket to watch my brother get arrested. We've come down to cricket to watch my younger brother play, and it's actually really interesting because I've got both dogs with me, and I'm just basically working on staying near me without me holding onto the lead. I very much prefer to use the lead as a, what's the phrase?
I don't know. What's your name for?
I don't know what the phrase is. Your lead should be a...
Pause.
I messaged a friend. It's your lead should be your seatbelt, not your steering wheel. Basically meaning that your lead should be there in the case of an emergency, but it is not to steer your dog, it is not to control your dog. And so, for example, right now, both of mine are on lead, but I'm not touching them. I'm not holding them. And I always want to build up, I've got treats here, I always want to build up the reinforcement so that they want to be with me. They don't want to run off. Apart from when a ball comes our way, then it's anybody's, it's their game then. So we have pretty much just got back from Ted's specialist veterinary physio. You'll have probably seen a few clips from that there. And oh my God, I've been sat in the car for like, Christ. I think we left the physio at 3 and it is now, God, I think it's like 6. We were stuck in traffic for ages. But it was worth it. It was really good. She said that interestingly today, he, rather than having tightness in one shoulder, she worked through that. And when we went back, he now has tightness in the other shoulder. And I was like, oh no, that sounds really bad. Like, I was kind of worried about it. And she was like, this is actually good. And I was like, okay, why? She was like, because if I was working through an issue and we were finding that it was recurring, then that would be a problem because it would mean that there was a permanent issue in that joint. She said, rather than a niggle that I've managed to fix and now is rectified. She said the reason that the other shoulder is probably gone is because of compensation. So he's had that shoulder freed up and he's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And now he's shifting a little bit onto the other one. So that's why that's tight. But she worked through it. I'm able to have him off lead a little bit more now, so I need to work on building it up. We still have our specialist appointment on Tuesday. We really are very far from out of the woods. It's just very important that we maintain his muscle and build his muscle back up in the meantime, especially if he ends up having surgery. I was really down last night, really, really, really down, because everything was just getting too much for me, and I didn't end up sleeping until 6 a.m. So I am knackered. I'm absolutely knackered, but yeah, I feel a little bit more positive today, and hopefully the weekend will be good. And that's pretty much all I've got for you right now. Holy Mother of Christ. It is too early to be existing. I'm gonna sound so privileged right now. It is 8:10 in the morning. I've been awake for 3 hours. We have dropped Ted off at Manchester Veterinary Specialists. I was just about to tell you that that was in Manchester, but I think you may have gathered that just based on the fact that it's called Manchester Veterinary Specialists. I had a lovely chat with the vet Ollie. I should be able to pick him up from 12 till 2. We had to get him there at 7:30, 7:15 this morning. Yeah. Oh, I'm so tired. I am so tired. So basically we're gonna do some CT scans, we're gonna do some x-rays, some joint samples. We're maybe gonna send that off for analysis. I can't remember what else, but yeah, they're really, really, really good there. Fingers crossed we get some kind of answer. I'm not necessarily expecting a complete diagnosis today, but I think it would be really good if we could just get some kind of idea as to what was going on with him. And yeah, we'll see. I'll keep you posted. So I am currently sat in my nana's garden. Have I cried my eyes out for the past 20 minutes? Yes, I have. Essentially, the results of today are not what I expected. So he went to an orthopedic specialist, and we thought the problem was orthopedic, and essentially it turns out that the problem likely isn't orthopedic, and he needs to see somebody much more specialist, or at least it may be orthopedic, but he needs to see somebody more specialist because there is another issue at play. So he has severe muscle wastage, which has happened quite suddenly, and he also has developed a grade 3 heart murmur out of nowhere. Okay, so it has been, I think, a week since I last filmed. I'm gonna try not to cry. So you last saw me taking Ted to Manchester Veterinary Specialists. He was sent there because I suspected that he had an orthopedic issue ongoing. I had known for about 18 months that something wasn't quite right. I'd been back and forth to my vets over and over and over. One thing that I will always be the biggest advocate for, whether it be human or veterinary medicine, is that you know your dog and you know your body better than anybody. And so when my vets were saying, there's nothing wrong with him, he's absolutely fine, I knew he wasn't fine. And so I pushed for this orthopedic referral, even though they said that it was a waste of money. I didn't care about that. I was more than happy to pay the money because I knew something was going on. What I didn't expect was to get to the referral centre, for them to look at him and go, you need to be seen somewhere else urgently. So that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, we had a phone consultation with a multidisciplinary centre and a specialist in internal medicine. And Thursday, we were seen by the multidisciplinary team at Paragon Vets in Wakefield. What then proceeded was Thursday, Friday, Saturday over in Wakefield. So that's quite a trek for us. And honestly, I cannot even begin to say how much Ben from Paragon Vets in Wakefield has turned everything around. The way it looked last Wednesday was that we didn't have much time left. And to go into an appointment where you expect there to be a hip problem or a knee problem or an elbow problem, and to get a phone call early to say, come get him, he needs to be seen elsewhere as an emergency. We're concerned about something systemic like cancer. I don't think I will ever forget how that felt. And so he was seen by Ben. Ben has liaised and created this little super team for Ted. And so in the space of a couple of days, he's had heart scans. He's been seen by one of the top cardiologists. He has had specialist blood tests. He's had gastrointestinal tests. He's had ultrasounds. He's had scrapings. He's had samples. He's had everything possible. We've thrown the book at him because he deserves nothing less. But I didn't get the news that I wanted. I didn't get the news I wanted at all. First it was the heart murmur, then it was the cachexia, which is muscle wastage indicating severe illness. Then we did the scans and we found that his adrenal glands were almost impossible to see, and we were like, well, you know, it could just be an anomaly. Then we did the bloods and we found that his cortisol was undetectable. Then we did the heart scans. He has heart disease and Addison's disease. He's severely underweight and he's lost the light. The light's gone. I just want my buddy back. Like, I just want that happy, crazy spaniel who bounces off the walls and is desperate to interact with me and do anything for me. So at the moment, I still don't really have the full picture. What we have to wait to do is to, we've put him on treatment for his Addison's disease. So that is steroids every day, and that is injections once a month to ensure that his potassium and sodium remain balanced. Addison's disease can cause generalized joint pain. So there is a possibility that if we treat the Addisons, and we work really hard in physio to build his muscles back up, that actually these injuries and these joint issues will stop. Unfortunately for all of us, it is a waiting game. We don't know until, you know, another month or two whether he does have another issue going on, another orthopedic issue going on, or whether it is just heart disease and Addison's disease. The heart disease is stage 1, so we've caught it early. At the moment, it doesn't need anything doing. Obviously, at the age of 7, absolutely devastated. Like, I'm not going to give you a video about how unfair it is. But it's very unfair. In terms of kind of where we go from here, it's just going to be a waiting game and seeing where he goes. Obviously, we're going to continue working with Ellie, our veterinary physio. She's incredible. We're going to continue working with Ben from Paragon Vets, who is an absolute saint. I honestly cannot sing his praises enough. We're going to basically monitor him so closely. I did say to them, you know, where does this leave us in terms of work? And agility. I was like, you know, it's very low on my list of priorities. It really is. I just want to get him back to being happy. Sort of the one blessing / saving grace out of all of this is that they said, actually, we would prefer it if you aimed to return him to those things. Their thought process was that if he's physically active and mentally active, in both assistance dog work and agility, that's going to help keep his heart fit, that's going to help keep his body fit, that's going to help maintain his muscle. You know, they say it with humans as well, you have to keep active. You know, they said that they manage police dogs and guide dogs and sport dogs with these diseases, and they do amazingly, and they do better than the pet dogs. So that made me feel a lot better. I was so proud of him though. He doesn't like being separated from me. He's never liked being separated from me. And vice versa. And he was so good in the vets. Ben, the vet, said to me, he said, I've never had a patient where the nurses do rock, paper, scissors on who gets to look after him that day. I received messages from you guys telling me that you'd been struggling sleeping, that you were thinking of me. My entire family rallied around. You know, the vet even said to me, he was like, you know, we always have to sedate dogs for ultrasounds, and he's so good we don't even need to. He's so special. And that's both incredible and terrifying. Yeah, so that was an interesting counselling session this week. Poor Deborah, my counsellor, had to deal with me going in just like, Deborah, it's all falling to pieces. But fingers crossed, now that we're treating his Addison's, now that we know what we're dealing with, that he has the right support system around him, fingers crossed we're on the up, and I'll keep you guys posted. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. You're more than happy to ask me questions on my Instagram as well. You can follow my Instagram here. And yeah, what a week. A week of unexpected trials and tribulations and turns and twists I never expected. But apologies you've had to deal with me like this, and we'll see you again next time.